I think I've been impressed by no conference as much as I've been impressed by the Big Ten. I can run you through some stuff if you want me to.
You know what? You do that. I've got numbers on all 5 power leagues. We're going to touch on every single one because as we come to you live here, it is November 30th. We are 1 full month into the season. And by the way, the net rankings will make their public debut on Monday morning, December 1st. So before we get that key metric, let's do let's hash some stuff out. Let's arbitrate some stuff with all these 5 leagues because I do think there is a compelling case for the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the SEC. But let's kick it off with the Big Ten, which most notably, I think, leads the nation with the amount of undefeated teams that are remaining. It has 7. No other league has more than 4. But again, we'll get to the other leagues in just a few. What do you got on the Big Ten, GP?
It leads the nation in trophies. That's a good place to start. I have 8 Big Ten teams in the top 25-1 right now, including number 2 Purdue, number 3 Michigan. If you're curious, I still have Arizona number 1. Based on the strong body of work that I think is better than anybody else's body of work. Again, 8 Big Ten teams in the top 25-1 right now. No other conference has more than 6. Purdue is undefeated, won the Baja Mar Championship. Michigan, undefeated, won the Players Era Festival. USC, undefeated, won the Maui Invitational. Iowa, undefeated, won the Acrisure. Nebraska, undefeated, won the Hall of Fame Classic. Michigan State and Indiana, they don't got trophies, I don't think, but they both are still undefeated. All of those schools are in the top 25-1. And then there's Illinois, which is only 6-2, but also in the top 25-1. Both losses are to teams ranked ahead of them, UConn and Alabama. They've got to win over Texas Tech. We'll see if Sunday Wicks gets one a little later on today. So still top 20 in the computers, still top 20 in the top 25-1. Again, that's just one way to chop this stuff up. I know you've got others, but based on the number of trophies already won, the number of zeros in the loss columns, the number of teams in the top 25-1, I think the Big Ten has had the best opening month of the college basketball season.
I would have the Big Ten slightly number 2 right now. I have the Big 12 number 1, but let's stick on the Big Ten. So right now, the Big Ten is 107-25 overall. That win percentage is .811. It is second in the country to the Big 12. As I mentioned before, 7 unbeaten teams, although it should be noted that Indiana, USC, Ohio State, Nebraska, Penn State, all have yet to play a top 50 opponent. So some of the Big Ten's record is influenced by the fact that a good portion of its league is yet to play a legitimate opponent, if you will. Teams with at least 3 losses. The Big Ten has 4 of them. Maryland, Rutgers, Oregon all have 3. Minnesota has 4. Versus ranked opponents this season, the Big Ten is 7-8. They're not alone in being under 500. Guess what? Every single Power 5 league is under 500 against ranked opponents this season. But the Big Ten is 7-8. It doesn't have the most wins against ranked competition. That is the Big 12. Versus top 50 Ken Pom teams, the Big Ten this season through Sunday, November 30th, is 12-13. Now, 8 of those 12 wins, 66% of those wins are responsible by way of Michigan and Michigan State. So 2 schools out of 18 are responsible for 66% of the league's best wins overall. But nevertheless, 12-13 against top 50 competition. That is the most wins. That's the second most wins against top 50 competition overall. It's a really, really good start for the Big Ten. Here's why I have the Big 12 number 1 to this point. And this is presuming, by the way, that Texas Tech and West Virginia both playing on Sunday after pod time. We're gonna give them those wins. And if I'm wrong, then I'll own it on Wednesday. But we're gonna say they win those games. Okay. So with those wins on the books, the Big 12 is 98-20. So it has the best win percentage by a little bit of a margin, but a margin nonetheless over the Big Ten. It has 4 undefeated teams still in its ranks: Arizona, Colorado, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. Teams with 3+ losses, none. It's the only league in America where not one single team at the end of November has at least 3 losses. Versus ranked opponents, the Big 12 has 1 more than the Big 10, despite getting the same amount of opportunities. It's 8-10 versus ranked opponents, and the Big 12 is the only league in the country right now that is above 500 against Ken Pom top 50 competition through Sunday. 17-15 overall. And whereas the Big 10 has had 5 schools that have yet to play a top 50 opponent, only one of the 16 teams in the Big 12 has yet to play a top 50 team. That is Colorado, which to this point is still undefeated, really off to a nice start over there. So not big margins, GP, but to me, overall, I would say that Big 12 is 1, the Big 10 is 2. And then here's the twist on all of this. Neither of those leagues are ranked number one at KenPom right now. The SEC still ranks number one in the country through 1 month of the season. Some of that is still predictive in nature, but even accounting for that, its lead is actually pretty comfortable. At KenPom, it goes SEC, then Big 12, then Big 10. There's a drop-off. We'll get to the ACC and the Big East in just a second there, but that's my case for the Big 12. Thoughts on those two head-to-heads before we dive into the SEC?
Some of this just comes down to what do you care about most? Strength at the top or top to bottom strength, right? Because if I'm looking at it, the Big 12 at KenPom, and there's a million different computers out there. This is just the one we're referencing for this conversation. The Big 12 at KenPom has exactly one team outside of the top 85, whereas the Big 10 has 4. So the Big 10 is going to have more garbage at the bottom than the Big 12. But I'm more interested in like looking at the top. That's all we ever think about anyway. You know, who's going to be a top 4 seed? Who's in the top 25? Who's in the top 25 and 1? Who's top 50 at KenPom? You know, how many bids is a league going to get? And so the way we view the sport is typically from top to bottom. We focus on the top more than the bottom, the quality at the top more than the garbage at the bottom. And when you do it like that, that's where I settle on the Big 10 being ahead of the Big 12 and the SEC, though I am not ignorant to what the computers say. Another way to frame it, I told you already, I've got 8 Big 10 teams in the top 25 and 1. No other league has more than 6. It is the Big 12 and the SEC, both with 6. If you want to take it to KenPom, KenPom has the Big 10 has 10 teams in the top 35 at KenPom. The SEC has 8. The Big 12 has 7. The SEC has 11 in the top 40, but 0 in the top 9. The Big 12 has 7 in the top 40, including 3 in the top 9. And the Big 10, again, has 10 in the top 35, including Purdue and Michigan, which are obvious national championship contenders. So there's more good teams in the Big 10 than I think there are in any other conference. And I think they've got multiple legitimate, undeniable national championship contenders. If you frame it just like that, I put Big 10 at the top.
I think it can be either or. I would take Big 12 because not a single team has 2 losses. Everyone's played good competition. It's the only one above 500 overall as a conference versus top 50 competition, and has the most wins versus ranked competition. That's just the counter to what GP just laid out there. Before we get to the SEC, I want to tag off what you just said there. Big 10, Big 12 national championship contenders. So in the Big 10, I'm going to say the school, and you say yes or no national championship contender, and let's frame it like not here in the moment. It's yes in the moment, but I believe that over the course of the season, this team is going to be in the conversation to be a national championship contender. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Michigan.
Yes.
Purdue.
Yes.
Michigan State.
I think we can maybe stop right there. I think
stop there.
I mean, to hold the trophy at the end of the whole thing.
I'm saying in the conversation to win a national champ, like a contender status. You want to stop at Michigan and Purdue? You don't think Michigan State, Illinois are in there?
I mean, you got to win. I'm not talking about just get to the Final Four. I'm talking about once you get to the Final Four, you got to win 2 more games. Hold the trophy. Win 6. I don't know that any league's going to have more than 2.
Okay, then let's expand this out to Final Four contenders. Okay.
Yeah.
Michigan. Purdue,
sure. Yeah.
Michigan State,
yes.
Illinois,
yeah.
Okay. Indiana.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'd like to see them. I'd like to see them get a little deeper into their schedule.
Indiana hasn't. Yeah, Indiana has not played a top 50 opponent yet. I'm not there on Indiana personally.
Yeah, but they are 7-0. I do have them ranked. They're in. The computer numbers are strong. They've looked good, but the schedule is the schedule to date. I would take a TBD on that, but
let's say a DBD is a no. It can still happen, but it's got to be a belief today. So Indiana, no.
I guess I would say this. Any team that's top 20 in the computers a month into the season is, I think, by definition, a Final Four contender. But I understand why you'd be skeptical.
So Iowa, 21 at KenPom, Final Four contender.
I mean, I guess so. They got Ben McCollum. He goes to the Final Four every year. Best I could tell, 4 Division II national championships, and his Division I record is now updated at 38-4.
USC.
How
GP? I mean, I don't have a top 50 win yet. I mean, congrats on winning Maui. It's a good start, but
I mean, what do you like? Yeah, all of these teams you've named so far are top 30 in computers, and top 30 teams can
Yeah,
get
but you can be you can be the 27th best team. Doesn't mean you're a Final Four contender. Like, I do not think Indiana, Iowa, or USC are Final Four contenders right now. I could change my mind by the middle of January, but the teams from the Big Ten I feel comfortable about right now to be Final Four contenders, both in the here and now, and to actually be in good standing by the time we get to, say, the end of February, I would say Michigan, Purdue, Michigan State, Illinois. A fifth could emerge from that. I personally don't feel comfortable adding any other than the four at the top of the Big Ten right now, personally.
We're just thinking of this two different ways. I'm falling on the idea that, I mean, NC State went to the Final Four a couple of years ago.
I know that's aberrational, though.
I know, but like teams that are like borderline top 20-ish teams, 15 to 25 range, are almost always like they got a chance. They're in contention to go to a Final Four, whether I'll pick them or not. If you're asking the question, do I think any of those teams are the only two I would trust to get there? Like, yeah, go ahead. I'll put some money on them on November 30th. I could see them getting there. That's probably Purdue and Michigan. Michigan State, because of Izzo and just because they're rock solid. But I wonder if the talent gets them, the lack of high-end talent gets them at some point. I don't mean that to sound disrespectful. Michigan State's very good. I've got them in the top 10, but that's not a team that is similarly talented to some of the other teams that we're going to end up talking about. Michigan, Purdue, I think, obvious contenders. The rest of them, I'd be surprised if they got there. But my point is, there's nothing crazy about thinking a, say, 7-0 Iowa team that's 21st at KenPom. There's nothing crazy about the idea of that team maybe winning 4 games in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. That, in generally speaking, I just wouldn't rank Iowa right now among the 20 most likely teams to do it. But again, that could change. All right, Big 12 to me objectively has more contenders. Are you only going to take 2 from this league? You say the top of the league matters. Where are you cutting it off? Houston, Arizona, Iowa State at minimum. What about Kansas when they get Darren Peterson back? BYU with DeBonsa, Texas Tech. Doesn't it feel like the Big 12 at the top is stronger than the Big 10?
I think the Big 12, if we're just doing it like 1 against 1, 2 against 2, 3 against 3, 4 against 4, yeah, I think the Big 12 probably stronger than the Big 10 in some of those. But once you get to like 5 against 5, 6 against 6, 7 against 7, 8 against 8, that's where I think the Big 10 starts to. There's more strength in that 4, 5, 6 range than I think there is in the Big 12. But we are really, I hope this is clear, splitting hairs.
Yeah, I know. Listen, it's good to just bounce back and forth and disagree a little bit every so often on the pod.
I know. I have Twitter. I know what this looks like on Twitter. It's going to get turned into all sorts of things, and we're talking in a nuanced way. But
the real ones that listen to the pod, you know what we're talking about here. Also, we just want to give a good little landscape of the sport here. Again, we're 4 full weeks into the season, and with the net coming out tomorrow, this will be a good way to set the table.